There we go. Okay, fair enough. All right, so let's talk about this. So here are some of your top characters. Definitely a Nilo lover, I can tell. Got C2R1 Nilo. That's very nice. I definitely approve of your build, Nilo especially. Good choice with the using the 2-2 Gilded and Minolith. They're probably going to get their most out of that, so that makes a lot of sense. I see you're running Deepwood on your Nahida, which makes a lot of sense. I typically, let's see what you gotta say. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Sucrose is a great unit. Yeah, we'll get to Sucrose for sure. Definitely, Sucrose is a great unit. We can focus on that. Nahida looks good. Good choice of weapons. I run my Nahida with slightly higher crits. Which kind of allows you to also use Nahida in an aggravate spread team, but since that's not really what you're focused in, I can see this being pretty beneficial. So she's going to be your Deepwood Memories user. Another thing that I do, but that's just what I do, is I actually put Deepwood on Kokomi, but it kind of depends on who's creating the bloom cores. So I understand running EM, it makes a lot of sense on this. I'm presuming your EM is, your Kokomi is creating a lot of bloom cores. So this build makes a lot of sense, especially with Nahida running your Deepwood. Now I noticed you had Yao Yao in here. So for bloom teams, yes, Yao Yao is a decent driver, but at higher levels of the Spiral Abyss, you might have damage problems if you run Yao Yao. I strongly suggest you run Jingshu in her place on a bloom team. So I would do Nilo, Kokomi, Nahida, and then Jingshu. Nahida can produce a tremendous amount of Dendro. I don't see there's a problem getting the Dendro uptime with just Nahida, because Nahida can trigger both on the bloom reaction and then also the damage from the bloom cores. So as long as you're diligent about keeping her skill up and recasting it as much as you can, you'll probably get enough Dendro without having to have Yao Yao in the party. Yao Yao does give some Dendro resistance for the bloom damage, whereas with Jingshu, you're going to get straight damage reduction, and it'll break his E-skills. The bloom cores will break his E-skill swords, but it won't break his burst scores, and that gets to the problem. So the first criticism I have for your Jingshu is this is way too little ER. Like, Jingshu is 180 minimum ER, even on a double Hydro team. So my suggestion to you is to actually double down and focus on getting a one of this set, whichever this set is, the Electro set, the Energy Recharge set, and actually put a full Energy Recharge set on your Jingshu. You're going to get, or Emblem, that's right, Emblem of Sever Fates, that's right. You're going to get so much more value out of your Jingshu, sacrificing some EM, sacrificing some attack and some crit just by really focusing down on Emblem. The trick with Jingshu, and when you're using in the Abyss especially, is you basically want his burst to be up continuously. Like, I run Sack Sword on my Jingshu. I don't have a Jade Cutter, but I run Sack Sword because that just means that he just doesn't have energy problems. And then Emblem just gives you the bonus for having those. So if you were to take Jingshu into the Abyss with this current set, I think you'd have problems keeping a tight rotation with only having 111. Even with a bunch of characters that are Hydro, you're going to have trouble keeping his burst up, which is going to hurt your healing, which is going to hurt your damage reduction, and it's going to drastically reduce your damage. Whereas if you had Jingshu in with Emblem, you could what so-called drive with Nahida, where Nahida is driving all the buffs, and you're going to get a lot of bloom damage, and you're going to also trigger the bloom reaction most with Nahida, hopefully, because Nahida is going to just be applying so much Dendro that she's going to be the one triggering bloom, which is going to give you the advantage of all this EM that you invested in her. So I mean, Yaya's not a bad unit for overworld and stuff, but I think that when you get to the higher levels of the Abyss, you may find you just can't get good times when you're running double healer, essentially, because Kokomi can handle all the healing that you could ever need. On the other side of this, you've got a great Hu Tao, C1, which is always nice, C1R1, which is a great Hu Tao. Your artifacts are spectacular, your build is spectacular, so Hu Tao, Zhongli, and then the question is, what do you want to use to support? Again, this is why I put so much effort into Yelan, because unfortunately you want to have Jingshu two places at once, and you can't be. But as support for this, like literally this is the party right here. Unless you had Kazuha, this is the party for some pretty, no Yelan can't do anything, right? So when you need strong single target damage, this is definitely going to be a very good party. This is going to be really good. You've got this party here is going to be really good for the top half of floor 12. This, at least if it's the same, this is going to be good for top half floor 12. So then I'm not going to bring it up on stream, but I'm going to bring up the other characters you have and just kind of discuss some other options you have to kind of aid your build. So one option you have over putting Jingshu in the Bloom party is actually Dendro Traveler. And you've at least got a level 90 Dendro Traveler. Dendro Traveler works extremely well with a Bloom party. Because of the Hydro effect on her burst, it's going to give you almost Jingshu level damage overall if you just did Nilo, Kokomi, Nahida, Dendro Traveler. And so that would be a possible team for just a pure Bloom. I noticed you do have Raiden. Are you familiar with what's the so-called Raiden national team? Again, another Jingshu team. But if you pair Raiden with Jingshu, Bennett, and Zhengling, it's pretty much easy mode for the Abyss. Like, the Raiden national team can, as long as everyone is built relatively well, you can basically cakewalk all the way through floor 11, and you probably do okay on subsequent floors. So I don't know how well your Bennett and your Zhengling are built, but just getting the catch and then getting a decent 4-star weapon, or even puts Jade Cutter on him. So national team, what you want to do here, let me switch back to my scene. My build is somewhat national friendly. I don't usually run national, but I can show you how I've built those characters, and then we can discuss from there. So let me go back to the game real quick, and then I'll show you kind of the overall. I'll show you what the deal is with national. So let's build a national team right now. We'll just grab a free slot. So we'll just grab this team. So national team, you're going to have, of course, Raiden as your driver, Bennett, Zhengling, and Jingshu. Right, so these three are your core national. All national teams are built from these three and another character, right? So I have an ER build for my Raiden. Let's actually just switch to that team so it's easier. So I have an ER build on my Raiden. So that means I'm gonna have as much as it's like I run Emblem on her. I've got a lot of energy recharge. You can run her with the catch, but I actually run her with engulfing if you have it. It's also really, really good. You can get over 300 with the passive effects on using your burst. So you can get 300 mastery, you get a tremendous amount of damage. Artifact set, again, emblem. In my case, I run electro damage bonus, but you can also run attack depending on how your ER is matched, and then just get your balanced crit rates. Bennett, you got a lot of options. Jade Wings, Jade's going to be good. I'm currently running Skyward, but if I really want to push myself, I'll give him Mist Splitter, but he's fine with any high base attack weapon, so you can even throw like a Black Cliff on him. Now, or if you don't have Black Cliff, you can even go to, something like a Rancor. You're not going to get as much out of the physical damage, but it doesn't matter. You just want that base attack, right? Switch these back. So as far as artifacts, you want to have one noblesse user in the national team, and I usually choose Bennett for that. You don't really have to worry about any of Bennett's stats. I mean, crits are good, I guess, but really it's just ER, right? So you want to be able to just like one E skill or maybe two E skills, or passively getting energy from other characters' E skills. You want to just be able to keep dropping that burst, and so ER is everything. Hit points are fine, you know, you don't have to worry too much about it, but like his healing is already ludicrous without that. And then I C6'd my Bennett, and C6 Bennett is actually really good in National. Some people don't C6 their Bennett, but it gives you a lot of freedom, especially when it comes to the Zhengling portion. So Zhengling can use lots of spears, but the catch is fine. She can also, I mean, engulfing, she's really good with engulfing. She's also pretty good with Sino's spear if you've got it. She's pretty good with you can even give her like a Skyward Spine if you wanted to, or Homa, whatever. But the catch is like 90% of what you need for her. Once again, it's going to be engulfing. Or a severed fate, excuse me, for everything. So this whole team is Emblem Severed Fate. In terms of stats, again, over 200 ER is going to be important, and not only that, but you might have to start catching particles with Zhengling because she's just so energy hungry. You know, get your crit stats as good as you can. Make sure you have a Pyro Goblet. Pretty straightforward. EM has some kind of diminishing returns, so the curve for EM is not linear, right? So you get a lot of damage up to about 250, and then it actually starts to taper off. And so characters that don't have an explicit EM scaling factor, you really don't get much out of going above 250 EM. So I noticed your Jingshu's got a lot of EM. Yes, he's going to do more damage with 600 EM, but he's going to actually do more bursts with ER. And it's okay. You don't need. She doesn't need to have a lot of, like, Raiden doesn't need to have a lot of crit. You get whatever you can. I farmed for months to get these crit stats, and they're still not optimal. What matters is recharge. Because recharge is going to be what gives her that extra damage. Electro damage is going to be what drives the whole of the synergy of the kit, right? And so, Zhengling, I run her at like 300, which is actually a little high, but it's just going to be, this is kind of as good as I could get her without super hyper investing and like just dumping even more time into Emblem Domain. And then finally, this is my, so you've got 54, 90, that's that's actually perfect. So again, Raiden being an ER character, you're not gonna get 5150 on her, and you don't need to. Like, she's got so many other sources of damage bonuses, it's fine. Like a 5090 is a perfectly reasonable Raiden, especially for this. And then as far as like Jingshu, I run him with Saxord because he does. Now again, I don't have a Jade Cutter, so like Jade Cutter's awesome. But if you're going to put Jade Cutter on him, then you're going to have an ER Sands on him. So I run an Attack Sands, but you're going to need an ER Sands if you're going to run Jade Cutter. That's just basically non-negotiable. And then Hydro, balance crit rates, stuff like that. I've got a very hyper-invested Jingshu. But again, you're shooting for that 200 ER, even on a double Hydro team. You got to have that 200 ER. And he also has the advantage of, doesn't he have a passive that helps with the Hydro damage bonus? Yeah, so again, you don't really build him for hit points. Hit point stats are fine, but like, how can I put this? Don't plan for failure when you're going to the Abyss. Unfortunately, you kind of have to YOLO a little bit and not like do complete protection. So here we are, we got a Raiden team, right? So let's hop over to the Abyss. Now, I haven't done this cycle, so you'll have to endure some floor 9 and 10 shenanigans. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Raiden National on one side, and I'm going to run Morgana on the other. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Morgana team composition, but if you have all the pieces, you just have to invest a little bit of time in your Venti in order to build your Morgana. So we're going to go ahead and start. Yeah, so that's Morgana is a Ganyu team. So we'll put Morgana on the first half. I think Morgana's good. No, we'll put Morgana on second half. So first half we'll do Raiden National. Right, so we'll do Raiden, Bennett, Jingling. There we go. And then the second half we're going to do, so it depends on how like dangerous you want to be. You either run Rosario, or if you want to be safe, you run Diona. I'll run Diona. So Diona, Ganyu, Venti, and Mona. So this team takes advantage of a quirk with how Ganyu's burst works, but essentially Ganyu's burst can do quadratic scaling with the number of enemies that Venti captures. In addition, it takes an advantage with a quirk of how Mona's bubble works. If a character is frozen when the bubble activates, the time that the damage bonus applies is extended for the duration of the freeze. So usually she gets a damage bonus for like 6 seconds or something like that. But if you freeze the opponents first, you actually get 8 seconds of additional damage from Mona. So there's like the 3 characters at the end. I mean, Diona's just there to apply some cryo, give cryo, and then give some safety. But all 3 of those characters have kind of a quirky synergy that works, that amplifies the damage of each other. And as long as you have lightweight enemies, it just steamrolls everything. It is one of my absolute favorite team archetypes. So we'll hop in here. I'll try to do the rotations a little bit. As far as what to put on, like Mona is another emblem set. Just farming emblem to death. And then Ganyu, you want to build her with the crit set. The Blizzard Strayer. Diona is your Noblesse user for this team. And then Venti, just give him VV. And maybe try to get some good crit stats and some good stuff on it. But yes, so Blizzard set definitely, especially for this team, because it's a freeze. It is like the core freeze team, so you're gonna get that crit bonus every time. So let's just do normal and charge. That should be good. All right, so here we are. E skill. We're gonna try to attract all the enemies. You want to kind of bait them all into one spot if you can, because they're kind of being a little whatever, and then you just Bennett, snapshot, and then you read, and now wherever he is, where'd they go? Where'd the enemy go? Ah, there you are. He's in the air. That's where he is. This side. Can't find the enemies. E. And then if you get sack, you can E again. If not, you can get some of these down. You want to do Bennett's second level for sure. Fresh. Again, this is an energy. Without a lot of enemies, you end up getting in a problem where you just don't have the energy that you need. But there we go. And then Bennett. Zhangling. So Zhangling snapshots Bennett's buff, so you don't actually have to be in the field for Zhangling to do full damage once you drop her burst. So usually just Bennett, Zhangling, and now, yes, you'll get more bonus damage for being in the ring, but the actual Pyronado is always doing full damage. And then as far as Morgana goes, the way you want to do it is you want to apply cryo, you want to Mona burst, Mona E, then you want to drop that, and then you do here, and you'll see that the damage just explodes into Ganyu because the no, I've got a C6 Mona, so I'll just do that. Do one of these. Do one of these. And then you can drop another one of these. And it's gonna because all the enemies are all grouped up. Each icicle that hits a single enemy will hit all the other enemies as well. So it's actually pretty powerful. Do that. I'm too busy talking to get like an optimal run here, but hopefully you get the idea of kind of how that works. Move on to the next chamber. And then as we're not like chasing down enemies, hopefully we'll be able to get a tighter rotation for the Raiden National section. Miss one. And we snapshot that burst, so now we have Bennett's buff wherever we go. Ooh, that was a little early. We got huge AoE on her E, which is really nice. I'm not gonna need his burst for this side. And they just really stack on the enemies, don't they? So, Raiden will drive whether she got her burst up or not. Let's go to this guy. This guy's super annoying. So we're gonna Venti. Hopefully that'll get the energy I need. Boom. Boom. And that just basically just annihilates anything that's there. So that's easy. Oh, hey, welcome in, ladies. Stay high. So yeah, so then as we ramp up, you have to kind of start tightening your rotations a little bit better. I'm really playing fast and loose right now. Ooh, burst damage. That's a good card. All right, mushroom time. You got to get them all. They just love to spread themselves out. Unfortunately. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then everything dies. Get some energy. Gotta get this proc the sack sword, which is good. And then we go boom. So I'm just using the one from the shop, the Blackcliff. I don't have her signature weapon. I just like the crit damage. You can also run the prototype on her. I can't show you my characters right now, but once we're done here, I'll show you my Ganyu build. Was that? Yeah, so we'll get out. Yeah, Crescent is great. Amos is better when you're using her charge shots, but it's actually arguably better to just use either Crescent or Blackcliff. She's got lots of options, right? So crit damage is her lifeblood, so that's why I run Blackcliff. I don't have Amos. I do have Aqua Simulacra, but unfortunately that belongs to Yelan and Yelan alone. She doesn't need crit rate, so you're kind of Viridescent Hot and Polar Star just don't do it for her. But again, Blackcliff, because I'm running her Morgana, I need crit damage. That's really all I need. And she's also killing a lot of enemies, so she procs all the Blackcliff stacks almost immediately. So yeah, I invested some of my Star Glitter, and oh, it didn't work. What didn't work? Oh, What didn't work? Oh, something. Okay. Chat's chatting. But so yeah, so I usually just run Blackclip. It's fine. It's fine for this team. And that's the other thing, is sometimes you choose the weapon for the team. As far as artifacts, as I said, you want to be running the Blizzard Strayer, crit damage, crit damage, crit damage. Like this is what it's all about. Like you don't even need, I mean, you'll get crit rate, and like it's good to have like in the 140s, but she's gonna get like more than 30 crit rate just from freezing enemies if she's in a cryo team. So that's what you focus on. And of course I do have cryo bonus. And then the other thing to keep in mind is, you know, you don't need a lot of recharge for her, but a little bit's fine. I'm hyper invested in my Ganyu, so I don't have to worry about recharge on my Ganyu, because I absolutely love Ganyu. And then Venti, H, just H. We're abbreviating things. Constellations don't matter on Venti. I run VV for sure. VV is absolutely perfect for him. I actually run a crit circuit on him though, because he's going to do he's going to do a lot more damage than with giving him EM. And so it's really just about having good crit stats on your Venti. And Venti's going to swirl Cryo and Hydro in a Morgana tab anyways. Wow, you can't use. Oh, I don't know what's going on in chat. I hope everything's all right. Everyone's tired today. And then for the rest of the Morgana team, we use let's see here. So it's just, this is your Noblesse user, like I said. She doesn't really terribly matter. No, it's okay. Recharge is all that really matters for Diona, and health. So I've got a shield bot Diona, 30,000. Yeah, I know how that can be. You start chatting in one channel because you want to think about it. The other, and then as far as Mona goes for the Morgana team composition, wherever Mona is hiding. So again, she's another Emblem of Sever Fate user. You want to get as much recharge as you can, but you also want to think a little bit more about crit stats with Mona, because she does actually do some pretty big explosive damage when her bubble pops. And then depending on your constellation, you might want to invest in her normal attacks. I've got a pretty hyper invested Mona as well, but it's because I got some lucky pulls, and I'm now up to C6, so she can also drive as well. Oh, weapon. The weapon that people usually say to use for Mona is usually fine, and that is Widsith, but I run Lost Prayer just to get that little bit more crit rate. But honestly, depending on what the problem is with running Widsith on Mona is if you're not running Vaporize and instead you're running Freeze, one of the Widsith buffs, which is the EM buff, isn't going to do her any good. So I run there. Other options, you can, if you don't have Lost Prayer, then you can run Widsith, basically. She doesn't really have any other options. I mean, everyone can run Kagura's Verity, but you've got, Skyward Atlas is okay on her, but again, I needed the crits, so I actually gave my Skyward Atlas to Ningguang. As you can see, I have a hyper built Ningguang as well. So yeah, I run this, and yet you're probably not going to get all of the stacks for the elemental damage bonus, but that base attack and that crit rate is much more valuable than the passive. And so if you've got it, that's the way. Now, if you were running a vaporized team, you might want to run Widsith, but honestly, all my Widsiths are busy. I actually run Widsith on my Nahida as well. The one that you've got on is fine. I just find that I don't have that one, so I end up running Widsith, and I have a lot of success with my Nahida with Widsith. And so those two team archetypes that I showed pretty much carry the Abyss. Now there are buffs that you can use, and you can like look at the buff of the Abyss buff, and you can kind of play with it. Oh, hey, sup, Steve, welcome in. And then you know how to build a Bloom team. So like the other option is just run your Bloom team. Now the other team, I am doing well. How about yourself? I haven't seen you in for a while, so I'm glad to see you around. Yeah, we're trying to also, you caught us in the middle. I'm trying to help folks get more interested in actually doing the Spiral Abyss, and so I'm trying to kind of give some guides about basic team building and stuff like that. As well. But yes, welcome in. And then the other thing that you can do is you can also run Hyper Bloom. So this team is also really good. Depending, even without an EM invested Raiden, but if you do have an EM invested Raiden, it's even better. But this is a possible team for you as well. It's not an Elo team, and since you have a lot of investment in Elo, I would advise that you lean into what you've invested in. Like Nilo is a very good character, and so your Nilo team is, again, it's going to be yeah. So I run Hyper Bloom. I have this crazy kooky build right now, where I have. Where is my Kooky? So my Kooky is wild, right? I made her as wild as I could get her. So not that great in recharge, but I don't drop her burst more. I have almost 900 EM on my Kooky Shinobu, and I'm also running the Bloom damage, which means that all conditions together, because I have Nahida C2, I can see Hyper Blooms that are well above 60,000 damage. Which is great. And so when I want to do Abyss, very often I will use my Hyper Bloom team to carry. Now, granted, that what you have to build Kooky Shinobu a certain way, or Raiden. I will be playing Honkai Star Rail, but I may or may not be streaming it. If you want to watch Star Rail, you should watch Mackenzie, because Mackenzie is the one in the know about Honkai Star Rail. So I am going to probably spend a little time figuring out Star Rail and focus on my Xenoblade and Genshin, while Mackenzie will be the one to watch for Star Rail, because she has some insider knowledge about how to play that I do not have, let's just say. And so she will be the one, but I will still play. I'm definitely going to play Star Rail. It looks really, really fun. But so Kooky, you got to hyper invest. It's got to be really, I would not suggest Honkai, not from firsthand, but my kid, she tried Honkai, and it's a little brutal. Like, their equivalent of the Spiral Abyss is more like ranked. You have to compete with other players for rewards and stuff. So, and then I don't know what her deal is with the story. She doesn't like the story for Honkai. I'm excited about Star Rail, though. Star Rail should be really fun. So Kooky Shinobu, but my point I was going to make with the Kooky is that this build that I'm using here, I could take these artifacts and give them directly to Raiden Shogun. And now she's a Hyper Bloom support, and she's going to do just as much or more damage with Hyper Blooms. But you have Nilo, so you're not going to run Hyper Bloom as much. You're going to run Pure Bloom. So that's what I would focus on in order to enjoy your Spiral Abyss time. So in this case, I think I'm going to run a Hyper Bloom. So this is spread or aggravate. So I'm going to run. I'll do a. So the disorder is buffing spread and aggravate. So I'm going to demonstrate some spread and aggravate builds. I don't know if all of these team members will apply to you, but we'll kind of show what you can do with spread and aggravate. So I'm just going to check. So here they're gonna generate a bunch of electro for us. So it does. So if you're so that's going to be a place you might want to run 11-1. What I would suggest to you is to run it once with a Hyper Bloom team, and then exit the Abyss, and then run with your Nilo team, get a 1-star, keep going, finish the Abyss. Although you might want to just push through and get all 3 4s, but when it comes to 11 and 12, you'll be a lot happier if you just, I got a 3-star on 11-1, great. Whole different teams. Play it safe, have the ley line holding on with 1 health, doesn't matter, can get a 0-star, and then have that team fully energized and ready for the next 2 floors. If you can do all 3 floors, 3 stars, awesome, do it. But if you have a team that you like where you're blowing up the ley line with your blooms, then do a separate team for that 1 run. Yeah, so Genshin, Star Rail, Honkai, they're like in the yeah. See, it's so if you can 2-star it with a Bloom team, then you can 3-star it with a Hyper Bloom easily. And then also another thing is when I get to 11, I'll show you. Ganyu Morgana team makes, as long as the enemies are lightweight, it makes the defense a joke, because they're all just floating in the air as Venti's destroying them. They never even touch the ley line, which is also really good. So we've got Vishops, which are heavy enemies in the second half. We've got Electro folks in the second half. Got some Kairagis. We've got some Mirror Maidens. Yeah, Star Rail, I did their little demo game, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. So I have Tignari. So I'm going to do a Tignari Raiden. What are we going to do? And then for this half, we're going to do my favorite. Again, I said not to run double healers, but honestly, my Kuki is not a healer. She only looks like a healer. And then we'll go ahead and go with... so you don't have Miko, so it doesn't help you to see Miko in here. Suffice to say, Miko is very good. You could do Dori. Dori's not terrible in a Hyper Bloom team. She provides some pretty good elemental application and stuff. I mean, yeah, why not? We'll throw Dori in. We'll have fun. I am a Dori lover. I think Dori is amazing, and I do not think that Dori deserves the hate that she gets. Yes, Yai is fun. Okay. Oh, you gave me an excuse. Okay, never mind. We're not running Dori. We're gonna bring Yai because Yai is amazing. All right, so you're gonna see how amazing Yai Miko is. So yes, definitely save for her rerun. All right, so we're gonna do Yai. We're gonna do Yai. Now, just suffice to say, you can do it with Dori as well. Dori also has an on-field Electro applicator, which is good for running spread. But we'll just do this one here. And now, if you don't have a Tignari, again, yeah. So. Okay, so what I can do, all right, before we do that, let me show you something about Dori before we do that. Now, I'm not going to necessarily take this party into the Abyss because there's not necessarily fun to go, but I can show you what Dori can do. So Dori is an interesting character to combine with Sayu. So now I will do Nahida here, and then we'll do now you can use Kokomi, but you can even use Barbara for this. Oh, earphones are being weird. So this is an interesting party, and this is maybe not the best thing in the world, but it is super fun. And so this is an aggravate party. But the aggravate driver is actually not a Electro unit at all. The aggravate driver is let's see here. Let's do Valley of Remembrance. So there's a lot of just generic enemies in here, right? So the cool thing about Dori is Dori will Yeah, I know. So Dory will infuse the active character with Electro. And that may seem like a downside, but when it comes to Sayu specifically, it's a good thing. And so what you can do, I'll show you. Hit too many gotchas. I know how that can be. So what you do, so here we are. We're going to drop Kokomi. We're going to do Nahida, right? Dory Burst. And now Sayu is now an Electro unit. And Sayu is generating all of the Hyper Bloom damage and all of the aggravate damage for the team. And that is one of the weird ways how Dory works. Is Dory essentially turns Sayu into a Electro unit. And she rolls around and she kills everything with her Electro-infused rolling attack. You can also do something similar with Kazuha. So Kazuha, when he swirls for his burst and his E-skill, he swirls from himself outward. So Dory, because she infuses the active character with Electro, will also do the same for Kazuha. It's a very similar to the what they call the Sunfire team. Are you familiar with the Sunfire team? This is a Bennett team. Yeah, so this makes Sayu a beast, like absolute beast. So Sayu build time, right? Free to play Sayu build. Rain Slasher. The event weapon that's in the upcoming event is even better than the Rain Slasher for this build. So you give Sayu the Rain Slasher. You give her all EM artifacts. You give her the Gilded Dream. I have a healing on her right now, but you give her EM artifacts. So now she's got pretty decent EM. She's got the Rain Slasher. I got 775, right? The aggravates and hyper blooms that you trigger in this party are based on Sayu's elemental mastery. So the rest of the party doesn't need any sizable EM. So I don't run any EM on my Kokomi. I don't run any EM on my Dory. It doesn't matter because it's Sayu that's actually triggering the aggravates and the hyper blooms. It's super fun. It's absolutely amazing. Just a moment. I gotta fix my earphones. My earphones are yelling at me. Battery. Take a second here. But I have a bunch of bad batteries that I need to get rid of that hold charge for all of 20 seconds. There we go. Much better. So anyhow, that is one really cool way to play with Sayu and Dory, and it's a great synergy. Now, you don't have to have Nahida, but you do. You can also do, this team can have other Dendro supports, like even just Trowler or whatever. And then another problem that occurs when you're trying to run Sayu as an aggravate is she will grab ZZZ. Yeah, I only have one gacha. I can only afford one gacha. And as you can tell from some of my high constellation characters, I hyper invest in it. I got to be very careful. I don't pick up other gachas. I will play Honkai, but I will not spend money on Honkai. At least that's the plan. We'll see. But the other problem with Sayu is Sayu infuses Hydro first. So if it were just Kokomi and Sayu, I don't have any source of things. So if I go find some enemies, if I find an enemy, and let's say I don't have Dory in the party, and I'm just going to find some hilly churls or something like that to mess around with, right? Just got to find one wherever they're hiding. Never a hilly churl when you need one. Goodness. Pick those up when you see them. So if we go into, I think there's, oh gosh, this isn't going to get me what I want. Let's just find some hilly churls. I think there's some up here. Yeah, it's like that's the most peaceful part of the map. I can't have that. But there's a little guy over here. There's a little dude who comes down the mountain, right? So I'm going to extinguish his torch. Do that. So if I just did this. Well, now she's hydro infused. doesn't work, right? So that's not gonna work, and that she will always greedily grab the hydro if you make that mistake. Whereas if I go in here, come on, let's wait for her to go through. So if I go ahead and drop her skill, boom, and then I drop Dory, well now she's Electro. So even though there's hydro all over the enemies right now, because she grabs from herself first, she's always going to grab the hydro or the Electro, which allows you to do this trick. You really can't do this without you can't do the Hyperloom thing without having somebody who afflicts Sayu first. And so yeah, that's the other thing. And the other thing I love about Sayu, I will say this, now this is not an Abyss problem, this is just a I love Sayu problem, is this team right here. Now you don't have Yelan, I know, but you can also do, or Kaza, but you don't have to have Kaza, you just need to have an Anemo unit. This team is unbelievably fast. It has every possible speed boost that can be combined. And it's even faster at night. So if we switch it to nighttime, or barely nighttime, this team can cover the map in like nothing else. So Yelan, she goes super fast at night. She actually goes faster than the drops of Mora of enemies. And then when you're done with that, you switch to Sayu, and you roll around with Sayu as fast as you can. And then by the time Sayu is done rolling around, you switch back to Yelan. And you get the passive from Rosaria. I just, for overworld exploration, it's absolutely wild. Anyhow, that's completely digression. So yeah, let's go back to Abyss. So yeah, I covered Dory. So Dory Sayu, they're a pair. They work well together. The two big old claymore wielding child-sized characters that are certainly not children. Neither of them are children. Sayu's like 20 something, and Dory is not young. I don't know how old Dory is, but they are not a young person. They are an older person. So we're gonna go back to this. So let's go back to what I was talking about. So we're gonna run a Raiden, Miko, Tignari on this side, and then we're gonna run that Hyperbloom team. And again, I'm running it with Yelan. You can run it with Jingshu. It's essentially the same. If you have Kuki, use Kuki. If you don't have Kuki, use any other. You could use Raiden on this side, but we'll demonstrate how this all works. So then Kuki, and then here. So we'll show how this works out. So one side, the bottom half is going to be Hyperbloom. Top half is of course Aggravate. One, two, three. Tignari E. Everything dies. Okay, and then we do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything dies. I really like Tignari too. I think Tignari is a great character. Might actually have to drop his burst this time. Without Yai doing damage to these slimes, it's a little more difficult to beat them. So one of the nice things about Yai Miko is you don't actually have to try, because she's a turret. So she just kind of hits the enemies on their own, so she don't even have to think about it. All right, Kuki, going on. Oh, thanks for the bits. Well, that's that. So Hyperbloom's going off all over the place. Thank you for the bits, Suppa Steve. All right, back to work. Well, thanks for stopping in, and appreciate just seeing you, and appreciate all the bits. Very cool. And then I usually do hit points because Yelan. So this one, we've got some heavier enemies. 1, 2, 3. Tignari bait. So then, only downside of her is she consumes her E skills when you use her burst to do additional damage. It's cool, but it's also it also will cause some issues with time to twirl. I don't understand time to twirl. Did somebody do a redemption? I am so lost. I will soon. Okay. All right, and then these two idiots, not my favorite. Do this. Fortunately, Hyper Bloom will just completely destroy everything. So yeah, so the Hyper Bloom just annihilates everything in this party. It's like Kuki Shinobu. I don't know. I didn't even see the damage numbers, but those damage numbers from those Hyper Blooms basically just wipe all the enemies. It's pretty outrageous. And then let's do energy. That's fine. I will understand soon. Okay, I will take your word for it. 1, 2, 3. Get that Dendro down. Drop Nico's first. I haven't even dropped Raiden's burst yet. I haven't had to. I usually use in the Abyss. I will use Raiden's burst almost as an emergency, like, oh, I gotta finish this guy off. He's got a shield kind of situations. Just like that. And then last one. So the Mirror Maiden is the biggest threat for sure. Drop this, drop this, drop this. Now we've got all the damage we could ever want in the world. The Hyper Blooms are just annihilating everything. And then the last one. That's it. Like that's what Hyper Bloom can do. It's just wipes everything out. Absolutely. So that's another option for Abyss runs is either of those teams. Now you don't have Tignari, so Kole will actually Kole is going to be 80% of that of what you just saw. Honestly, it's not. I mean, Tignari is good, and Kole is just Tignari light, in my opinion. And so I still don't understand. Time to twirl. I will understand. Okay, I will take your word for it, Mackenzie. And then let's see here. Anything good? Nope. Rewards for the Abyss. Sometimes I mean, really. And then let's talk about this ley line, since the ley line does seem to be a problem with lots of folks. So let's talk about this ley line defense. So ley line defense this time around, we've got lightweights on the first half, we got heavyweights on the second half. So lightweights is a Morgana problem. Like all those folks can be just picked up with Morgana. So top half is Morgana for sure. And then bottom half, I'll look at the other enemies that we have to deal with. So we have a Hydro Abyss Lecter on the bottom half. Hydro shields. So there's two kinds of shields in Genshin Impact. There are Fatui shields, which are of course damage reduction shields. And then of course there are Abyss shields. So the elemental effectiveness of them is different. So what works on a Hydro Abyss Lecter or a Hydro Abyss Mage, Dendro is going to be twice as effective. So in terms of elemental damage, which is like, it's kind of like a reaction. Destroying a shield is basically a reaction, right? So when you hit a Hydro shield, you're reacting with the Hydro shield, and like an Abyss shield has like an Abyss Mage has like 12 points for the Abyss Mages, and I think that the Lecterns have like 20 points. So a Dendro hit from Nahida does 1.5 points of damage of reaction damage, which is then doubled. So Nahida does 3 damage of the 12 to a Hydro Abyss, and then it does 3 of the 20 or whatever that a Abyss Lectern has, right? Cryo is also very effective against those shields. So that before Dendro, that's what we had to use. We had to use Cryo on them. So I would usually take a Cryo person for this bottom half. Pyro shields, you want to use Hydro, obviously. And then Electro shields, you want to use Cryo. So Cryo has a double advantage. So Superconduct does 2 kinds of damage to shields. It does, the initial hit does elemental damage. So it consumes the elemental gauge of the shield by basically reacting to it. But it also does a poise hit. And poise hits do an additional damage. So Superconduct is highly effective against shields. So much so that you can Superconduct a Cryo shield, even though Cryo shields aren't like even if they're like a Fatui Cryo shield, you can still do that. Unfortunately, Fatui Cryo shields are a completely different system. You've got to, I think you have to electrocharge the Hydros. You have to cryo the Electros. You have to pyro the Cryos, and then you have to. So what do we got? Hydro is Electro. Cryo is Pyro. Electro is Cryo, and then Pyro is Hydro. I think I say that twice. Well, anyhow. And then Geo shields, you just hit him with Geo, or you hit him with something big and heavy. Physical damage. It's actually technically poise damage. You want to do poise damage. So Claymores, Superconduct, Overload does a lot of poise damage as well. So those are good ways to break the Geo shields. So regardless, though, I'm going to make sure to just take a Dendro character to the bottom half to deal with that Lectern. And then the last one, we've got the Electro Regispine, which just folds to Dendro as well. So easy peasy. So let's go back. So we said we're gonna do Morgana again, and I'm gonna do safe Morgana. Unsafe Morgana is you take out Diona and you put in Rosaria, and your damage goes up and your survivability goes down. And I think the goal for me is always finishing the Abyss, not like having some like speed run time. So I prefer to just survive the run, and so I don't use Rosaria, at least for Abyss. Now I'll use Rosaria for like domains. Like there's a couple domains where Morgana is very effective. I'll use Rosaria because like it's only 1 chamber. I'll be fine. I'll live, right? And then for bottom half, so everyone's getting a Dendro damage bonus. Interesting. So in terms of the enemy's strength, honestly, I think I am just going to use this party. So we're going to do Nahida and Tignari, but you could just do Nahida, and then we're going to use Raiden Shogun, because like not even Electro. Like we don't really even need Electro for this one. Like we could even go as far as this and just do Bloom, pure Bloom for the bottom with a shield. So we'll try this one out. We'll see how this goes. I haven't run the bottom party before, but like considering so many of the characters in the bottom are not going to play nice with Electro damage, I don't see any reason to bring an Electro character to it. So we'll do max hit points. And so once again, we're going to go 1. We're going to drop that. We're going to get some distance. And then we're going to drop him. Everybody's been paralyzed. And then we just wipe them out with Ganya. Try to steal some energy from them before they all die. Knock them in the air. Should get the energy. And then vortex them all away again. It's like we got 1 straggler who might actually get to attack the ley line. He hit it once. He did not get caught in the tornado. Lure. Another nice thing about Ganyu is that her lures are highly effective at distracting enemies from attacking the ley line. We're gonna freeze them all in the bubbles so I can get positioned. And then pick them all up. These two are heavyweights, so we want to use lures to keep them out of control. I don't even know if he can be frozen, honestly. Yeah, he can. Some energy. Keep freezing these guys. Oh, now he's frozen because of his crocodile's down. No timer, so you might as well just charge shot him to death. There we go. So 3% damage on that floor. Pretty straightforward. And then again, Tignari's got a lure, so this is going to be a little easier. I'm gonna drop a bomb on him. Do that. I'm gonna tie them all up. A Snorlax appeared. Oh my goodness gracious. I want to get that. Let's see if I can beat the floor in time for the Snorlax to go away. Snorlaxes are good monsters in Pokemon. There we go. That's all I gotta do. So don't be afraid of 11-1, and don't be afraid of changing your team for 11-1 if you have. I mean, you've got a Zhongli too, right? Don't you have a Zhong? Do you have a Zhongli Moonlight? I don't know if you do. But Zhongli's burst, the freezing effect, as you can see, it's very effective. It's just giving yourself the 2 seconds you need to kind of position yourself and deal with the enemies, whether that be freezing them, whether that be dropping a lure like a Mona lure or a Ganyu lure, whatever you need to do, because they like to aggro immediately to the pillar, and getting their aggro, which is what I used to try to do for these ley lines, was like, oh, I'll just hit all the enemies once and gather their aggro. Like, the aggro level that they carry for the ley line is extremely high, and I also think it might have like a gradual increase. So you're better off letting them get close, doing something to freeze them in place, setting up your reactions, and then wiping them out. At least that's been my experience with the ley line section. Ooh, I caught the Snorlax. Wow, caught the Snorlax and beat the chamber. That's always good. Mastery's fine. All right, so then once again, we're gonna get some distance. And then get some distance. The only problem with Venti is sometimes you can't get the enemies into his little range, unfortunately. But with this party, you do have the advantage that at least you can freeze them and reposition. There we go. Boom. Some energy out of them. We get some Diona energy. I run Sackbow on Diona, by the way. I love the sacrificial stuff, especially because it helps so much with energy management. But just heads up on that. All right, now for this guy. Do I have to? Is it just him? Okay. Get your distance from him. Yeah, Sackbow is good. That's all I gotta do for him. I'm not gonna deal with this snake guy. Fortunately, he is not immune to her, which is good. That's what you got. Okay, and then continuing on to floor 11, 3. But yeah, that's like the perfect bow for Diona. Like, there's no better bow for Diona. Like, yes, there's a meme build for DPS Diona, but like, it's a meme build. Like, ignore it. Oop, not enough energy yet. Catch some more particles for Venti. Come on. There we go.
逆らいません。私は甘く見ないで。飲みすぎだよ。この仕事は排除するべきですね。お触り禁止。逃げようなんて思わないでよね。部外者禁止。
That. Yeah, so Morgana is just really strong. You just don't want to use Morgana on floors where the enemies are very, very heavy. Like, she wouldn't actually do much good on this one, for instance. Okay, Tignari. Destroy the bloom.
一応目を覆えば。やっ。キリがない。
Oof. I don't know if he's got his core switched yet. Alright, his core has switched.
覚えたわよ。はっは。え。坂。や。めくれまし。かかれ。
Okay, so that's floor 11. That's kind of what to expect. So the trick with the Electro Registine, I'm sure you've fought it before. It's just a little bit stronger. Its shield is just a little bit fiercer to break in this version. But it's still just another Registine. It's still another one of the kind of the straightforward Zelda boss style fight. Now, floor 12. I will not promise a perfect run. I will not promise 36 stars on floor 12. I am not good enough to consistently 36 star this floor, but I can give you some advice on how to get to the bottom of it and make do with what you get in terms of stars. So first half is a very obnoxious DPS chest. There are four rune machines will spawn, but they spawn one at a time in 1, 2, 3, 4. So any character that doesn't have a burst that carries between enemies is going to have a hard time with that one. Fortunately, Yelan does fine. Nai does fine. Nilo will do fine. So it should be fine, probably for you in terms of finishing it. Bottom half, unfortunately, though. This is when you're going to want to have your build Venti. So this bottom half is designed, at least this particular vest, its bottom half is designed specifically to help Anemo characters shine. The whole bottom half is Anemo centrics. So I can bring Venti to demonstrate Venti. I usually bring Kazuha, but Venti will also do the job. So I'll bring Venti for the bottom half. And everything else is really just about survivability, keeping your Venti alive and getting through the content. So bottom half, it's going to be 3 waves. It's going to suck. It's going to be 3 Whopper Flowers, 3 Abyss Mages, and then 2 of the Amorites that summon people, which are super annoying. Top half, you have to have some sort of survivability factor. Zhongli is most likely going to be the one. The Consecrated Red Vulture and the Consecrated Scorpion, they are an overload duo. They're level 98. It doesn't even matter how much damage they do. If they can inflict you with Pyro and Electro, you'll die. Most characters will be just dropped. One overload reaction, boom, they're done. So you want a shield. Bottom half, on the other hand, is the most unfair set of people because the Mask of Terror, the second one there. Oh, commercials. All right. Oh, wait. Commercial break. Tell me when the commercials are out, and then I'll get back to what I was saying. Sorry, I need a breather anyways. Talking too much. say, Mackenzie, if you could send me the link to however you have your little commercial widget, I would love to have it. So my bottom row of widgets, my what is it? My notifications, the Pokemon timer, all that stuff. I can see that now when I'm playing Genshin. So if I put the commercial notification next to the Pokemon timer, I should be able to know when viewers are in commercials. I just need to get however you did that. Unless it's a stream elements. And even if it is a stream elements, I guess I can add stream elements. It should be fine. Yes, good old commercial breaks. Gotta pay the bills. All right, back. Okay, so I'll rewind here. So top half damage test, bottom half Animo unit. You got to have an Animo unit for the bottom half. It's just not going to work out without it. I'll use Venti. Second half, Mask of Terror. So Lone Gale and Galloping Frost. So Galloping Frost, super annoying, creates a giant field of DOT cryo damage. Super annoying, right? Lone Gale attacks you with big old Animo hips, these big slashing like wind blades, super annoying. Mask of Terror, his old deal he ignores you and he walks off to the other side of the abyss and he just kind of stands around and waits. So the goal with fighting the Magokenkis is to stay close to the Mask of Terror. The other two will aggro close because they actually want to be close to you to attack you. But Mask of Terror, if you don't focus on staying close to Mask of Terror, what you end up doing is killing Lone Gale and Galloping Frost, and now you're going to do just as much AoE damage to Magokenki Mask of Terror, and it's going to ruin your time. It is absolutely not fun. So my suggestion to you is just keep focusing on staying close to Mask of Terror, the guy who's got the big old mask in front of him, and the other two should stay close, and if you focus on strong AoE damages, you should be fine. So this might be the floor that you bring. Oh yeah, you can't bring Nilo. You got to bring AoE. So this is going to be I'll bring a Pyro team to the bottom half. I'll show you which team I'll bring. And then top half, you've got the algorithm of semi-transparent maces. So they change the boss's AI when it's in the abyss. So when you're fighting this guy in the overworld, you have an opportunity to kill it before it goes invisible. In the abyss, it starts invisible. So you need to be able to hit it either with some sort of tracking thing, like a Nahida hit, or ideally you hit him with Quicken almost immediately, then breaking his invisibility. If you don't do that, the boss fight is just not fun at all. It's completely different AI than in the overworld, so just keep that in mind. So Hyper Bloom for the top half, and then we're going to do a Pyro Party for the bottom half. So in terms of the first half, so we're going to try what's called a fridge team. We'll see if it works. Well, actually no, we'll run super safety team. So we're gonna do ultra safe team. We're gonna do an Archon team. Yeah, we're gonna run an Archon team with Yelan. You could do Jingshu as well. And then the bottom half, we need Animo, and I promised you I'd use Venti, so let's use Venti. So we're going to do a Pyro team for the bottom half. We're actually going to do a Melt Pyro team. So we're going to do Diona. You could also do Xinyan if I had Xinyan built. Venti, Zhangling, and Bennett. That's going to be our team. We're going to see how that goes. So this is going to be a melty team, and it's going to be trying to focus on as much AoE damage as we can using Pyronado, and we'll see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll change it up again, but we'll give it a shot. But unfortunately, you got to have Animo in the second half, unfortunately, and that's just no fun at all. All right, so rune grades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Death. And then we have to Nahida again. Then we'll Raging Shogun this guy. Freeze this guy. Nahida again. Yelan. We'll do Yelan to get her set up for the next half. That's how you do that. So you want to keep like chaining those bursts on top of each other in order to keep the damage level up so that you can beat out the monsters. And then this one, we're going to get these three, and you want to pluck them all out of the ground if you can. Oh, stop, alarm clock, stop. Okay. Yeah, not promising high ranks right now, unfortunately. I had to stop an alarm clock on the way through. It's always fun. Let him do his thing. Fortunately, healers are nice. And then I don't want to use Venti's burst until the pyro mages appear, and then we want to burst these guys and hopefully get them to react to each other. Get these snapshot, get one down, get two down. Shield up. Just die off. And this cryo mage in his annoying field. Oof. Oof. And we're gonna restart. That did not work out well. I thought I had one of those guys down, and I paid no attention to him, and he got away from me. So you gotta be careful of that. Get ripped. Yeah. And honestly, there's no shame in restarting. Like, I did a pretty good run on these guys the first time, so I'm not too worried about it. So. So that's fine. Alright, let's try this again. Cryo. Hopefully get these guys into the air. Try this again. There we go. Got 2 of them in the whirlwind of death.
足元に気をつけて。
みんながそばにいてくれれば傷なんて痛む。
私は甘く見ないで。
Those darn cryo shields. Yeah, I think I need to kick a Hydro unit into this one. This may not work out well. Alright. Alright, we'll finish this one and then, well, we're done here. We'll leave. Alright, so we need a Hydro in here. There's just no way. So let's leave. So let's not do Pyro. So we gotta have Hydro support. So we need to get a different survivability option. So we'll use Kokomi for that survivable option and for that one. So the first team was fine. Let's try this again. Let's abandon this. Alright, so that Pyro Mage is going to be a problem. So let's go ahead. We'll do the same team as before. Bottom half, let's try a different variation. Let's go with... Venti wasn't playing too bad, so we'll do a different option. Let's go with a national, a Venti national. We'll do a Venti national. We'll see how this one works. Again, you have these characters, so we should be able to try that out. And let's see what we can do. It's fine.
裁きの雷糸よ工作せよやかかれせい痛くしちゃうかも
天理チョーク難攻不落
逃げ道はあります痛がっちゃいないよせいよ終わりね撤収はっとはっやはびこりなさい出発全部丸見えね私のお家にいらっしゃ
天道ここにあり
糸よ工作せよここより弱滅の時はっ
That's fine. Once you know how to deal with the robots, they're not too bad. Alright.
逃げようなんて思わないでよね
みんなは俺が守る
左右ルコ師匠の技を食らいなさいそれや形は精神と共にあれ
Alright.
走るより飛ぶ方が早い股間奥義
全力攻撃
はっふっやふっそれはっふっやや風だ一緒に遊ぼうよ雨描きがたしふっひっふっやはっほっ
That's that. And now phase 3. Ooh, frozen.
一緒に遊ぼうよはあ熱々でしょ痛いよ師匠の技を食らいなさい動くべきだ
That energy. There we go.
逃げようなんて思わな
I
いで
should be
よ
able to
ね
get these guys in the air. Good.
走るよりここだよ
燃えろ全力攻撃
この剣形はせ動くべきだ
Just keep knocking me around. These guys love to knock you around.
一緒に遊ぼうよや
Not a 3-star, just a 2-star. But fair enough. Still a little rough on that. I would bring Kazuha, and I think it would probably stretch it out a little bit, get it done a little faster. But again, we're just trying to get to the bottom right now. I'm not going to worry too much about it. Recharge.
剣の盤石
手をつなぎましょう。
裁きの雷捕まえた。
終わりね。撤収。
天理チョーク
Yeah, these things are so annoying.
全部丸見えね。知識をあなたにも。
稲光すなわち永遠なり。シュッてた
天道ここにあり剣女盤石
糸よ工作せよ。せたはせふた無我の境地。
There we go. Gotta have that shield. They will just knock you around like a rag doll. I hate it, but it is what it is. Okay, Magu Kinkies. Mask guy. Oh,
風だ。
みんながそばにいてくれれば
さい雨描きがたし九死の境より逃れるため。
ルオパー火を。
some energy problems, unfortunately.
勉強に。
Oh, Jingshu died. All right. Let's try it again. All right. Actually, we're going to try a different party. We're going to leave. So, yes. Yeah, it's going to let it. We're going to leave. We're going to try a different one. So, yeah, I'm still not happy with that bottom party. So we're going to try a different party. Come on. Yes. Leave, dude. So what else do you got? So again, it's going to be really hard for you to use Nilo on the bottom half. So I'm not going to say, oh yeah, you'll just bloom on the bottom half. It'll just be fine. Like, nah, it's not going to be fine. We need to think about it. So we can try to reduce our survivability on the top in exchange for Zhongli at the bottom. You have Hu Tao, but we've got a lot of pyro, so that's not going to really work out so good. Animo unit. Thinking. We've got... Venti's just not doing it for me. I think we're going to have to try Sucrose. So you do have a built Sucrose. So let's... I also have a built Sucrose whenever I see her. She's not level 90, but she's built. She's really not playing well with Pyro on that side, unfortunately. So we need some other source of AoE for that side of the abyss. Well, there's Electrocharge. That's an option. So now we are now doing a Diona led, but then we don't. Okay, so we don't have Yelan in the team anymore. We'll see what happens. Trying to work with what you got. See, I can't lean on the characters that I have like Kazuha. So let's see what we can do. And max hit points.
手をつなぎましょう。ご助力を。
しっかり立ってな。
はっ。や。や。は。海のちぎりよ。はっ。や。ふっ。はっ。ふふ。捕まえたにゃ。反省しなさいよ。これこそが知恵の伝道。た。
渚のリン。
ほったたせほはたとよほせ
嫌い。パッチョ。と。はっ。
やせ 覚えたわよ。ご安心を。私のお家にいらっしゃい。
Everything I'm doing with Kuki, you can theoretically do with Dory. So there's no reason to think that you have to build Kuki for this.
ソーランの憩い。手をつなぎましょう。リオナの特製ドリンクじゃ。
欲張れ。
これこそが知恵の伝道。
So this is what they call like a hyper fridge or a fridge team.
おとなしくしな。
痛くしちゃ。
Because it's doing hyper bleams, but it's also like doing freeze reactions. Am I gonna be able to catch that Pokemon? Probably not. Maybe I did. All right. And now we're a lot more survivability here on this side. Raiden is going to be our
安全距離確認。
左右ルカ。稲光、すなわち永遠なり。
our major source of damage, as well as just electro charge.
ひゅっ。て、ふっ。
6308式ユニット。
股間奥義。
超拡散形態。
無我の境地。はっ。やっ。はっ。ひゅっ。ふっ。たっ。て。はっ。て。
天理チョーク岩山八九はっ
見切りました。
吸引テスト開始。
この件はわかるかい。
6308式ユニット。
剣女盤石
逃げ道はありません。やっ。ふっ。て。ここより弱滅の時。はっ。て。見切りました。はっ。て。
安全距離確認。
新天道地ふん隙あり
雨描きがたし。
6308式ユニット。
天道万象
無双の風。新
左右ルカ。稲光、すなわち永遠なり。やっと。ふってた。
There's the last one. Height. There he is. Okay. So Sucrose. Sucrose is a good character. Definitely an an abyss-worthy character for sure. Plus, she's going to be boosting Raiden's EM, which is really nice for the electro charges. All right, let's see if there's enough survivability on this side with this team.
全部丸
Frigid.
見えね。ご助力を。
しっかり立ってな。
知識をあなたにも。深海のカゴ。ふっはっ行きましょう。はっおっ捕まえたにゃ。反省しなさいよっぱらいさ。ふふ
渚のリン。
ご安心を。はっはっ
Nope, that's not the driver I wanted. Oof. Taking some serious damage, but it's fortunately double healer dying.
私のお家にいら。あれ狂いなさい。やっ
しっかり立ってな。殴られたいの。邪魔をするな。待て。
Wow, let me switch.
はっ飲みすぎだよ。はっ手をつなぎましょう。やっと。やっ
やっ。やっ。せい。
へいはっはっやっソーランの憩い。
はっ。やっ。
覚えたわよ。せたはよた海のちぎりよ。はっはっやっ
So a little more survivability makes a huge difference. So now this side's got the Zhongli issue.
この件はわかるかい？股間奥義。
吸引テスト開始。
天理チョーク。
ここより弱滅の時。
They're all nice and grouped together. That's what you want.
逃げ道はありません。
天道ここにあり。
超拡散形態安全距離。
左右ルコ無我の境地。
All grouped together. You want to try to hit them all at once if you can.
天理チョーク。岩山八九。
吸引テスト開始。
雨描きがたし。
Burst again. Burst again. And burst
ここよ
again.
り弱滅の時。
That's how you do it. So the Magu Kenkis, as long as you stay next to the mask guy, you can kick them all out basically with one set of attacks. If one of them breaks from the group, forget about it. You're not going to do well. All right. Grace.
渚のリング。や
No, his thing is
ご安心
broken.
を。
おとなしくしな。
これこそが知恵の伝道。ふっとほっやった。私を甘く見反省しなさいよっぱらいさん。ふふはっよ
はっやっとほっ
せや知識をあなたにもと痛くしちゃうかもと公主権民
しっかり立ってな。
ご助力を
Is he hiding this time? There he is.
やった
Keep those hyper booms hitting him as hard as you can.
あれ狂いなさい
役払い。ふっせ
覚えたわよとせと私のお家にいらっしゃいとせやはびこりな
邪魔をするな。渚のリング。
全部丸見えねよは飲みすぎだよは
ほっふっせ
ソーランの憩いふっ行きましょう
しっかり立ってな。
Those hyper blooms.
やっ
And that should be it for you. Okay, so a little rough, but not a superpower team, but at least gets to the end. And then here we are this time.
見切りました。この件はわかるかい？さい。
Use the supercharge to keep them down.
歌よ錦となれ。
天道万象。岩山八九。
裁きの雷。ひゅってやって。はっ
Got caught in a bubble.
6308式
Fortunately, they get caught in the bubbles too, which is kind of
難攻
nice.
不落。さ
稲光すなわち永遠なり。はっふっだっ
That's one set.
さの獲物だ。
Second set, not as easy as the first
こ
set.
こにあり。岩山八九。
見切りました。左右ルコ
7号式モジュール
ここより弱滅の時。はってったやっはってせ
天道万象。剣女盤石。
吸引テスト開始
無我の境地。はっ
It'd be pretty straightforward to take these two out since they've got their pets down.
はっふんはっふっせ裁きの雷。
So, Not a 36 star, but a completion. And I think you have all the characters that I used, right? I'm pretty sure you have all the characters I used. So there you go. Spiral Abyss. Is it hard? Yes. Is it anything to be afraid of? No. You could... That's an interesting piece. Anyone with an invested? Yeah. Yeah, if you got no Kuki, again, so Kuki isn't an absolute necessity, as I said. So Kuki is just another 4-star, right? So I have invested in my Kuki as a Hyperbloom support. But that doesn't mean that you can't do a similar performance with Dory. Because Dory is... Why do I keep doing this? Dory can be as good or even better of a Hyperbloom support to Kuki. So let's talk about her build really quick. Sack Sword. She's one of the first characters to use the Sack Sword. She's got a good E skill. Some pretty good Electro, depending on your constellation. I'm running Millilith hybrid with Emblem because although Dory is good, she does have she's a little more energy hungry because you're going to want to run her burst. Her burst is going to be your source of healing. It's also going to be your source of hyperblooms. And then, if you got constellations, you got constellations. If you don't, you don't. Talents, it literally doesn't matter whether normal attack. You will not a normal attack with Dory at all. And then you just want to burst in skill. And the only caveat that's a little different with Dory over Kuki. So let's build a Dory Hyperbloom team right now. I'm not going to go into the stressful situation of the Abyss, but let's put Dory in here. And again, I don't have artifacts on her or anything like that. So if you wanted to do a Dory Hyperbloom, let's find an enemy to fight. Let's just fight one of these machines in Inazuma, right? So there's some rune machines around here. The only issue is how you're going to break the cores. It's not a huge thing, but it is a thing. Because you gotta be consistently breaking cores, and you don't want to break them all at once. You kind of want to break them one at a time. So if we're going to go down to this rune guy, and we'll demonstrate kind of the goofiness. I'll have to get some energy too. So we're going to energy up. So Dory's skill creates a line, right? So go ahead and get him marked. Get Kokomi out here. Get this out here. So once I got the energy, so you send your burst out, and you go and you use the line to break the course. So it's like a little jump rope. And so you just take your Dory, and you get your cores out there, and then you just have to position yourself where the lamp and her have a core that's somewhat in the middle of them, and then they pop. And other than that, you can play her exactly the same way I was playing Kuki Shinobu. So I'm just gonna drop her burst, and then I'm just gonna keep that line in between. You can see it's kind of auto playing itself. I'm not even attacking, and he's dead. That's it. That's all you do with Dory. She's such a fun character because with a combination of Dory, Naida, and a good Hydro flyer like Kokomi, you don't have to actually do anything. You just have to kind of move yourself around so that you just keep that little line that goes between her lamp and your character connected to the cores, and then you can just kind of kill things that way. Whereas, of course, Kuki's got that big AoE Electro, so it's a little easier to catch those cores. But again, just try this. Just no Yulan. Just put Jingshu in there. Just Nahida, Jingshu, Dory, Kokomi. Play around with it on the overworld. Get good at it, and it shouldn't take you too long to just keep popping those cores. And then when you build your Dory, keep in mind you need more ER than Kuki, and that's part of the reason I run her Kuki instead. So I'm not going to have as much EM with the way I built it, right? But you can still comfortably Hyperbloom with Dory. She gets the job done, and I think that's actually I'm gonna maybe say the intent of Dory was to be a strong strong electro healer for the purpose of boosting Hyper Bloom teams. So hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully, like I've demystified some of the Spiral Abyss for players like yourself that've been playing longer than I have, at least in terms of your UID, which is lower number than mine. And I encourage everyone to at least do floors 9 and 10 every cycle. And if you can do more, great. And like, I got really stressed doing Abyss the first, dozen or so times I did it. And now it's just the perspective that I try to take is the perspective of it is a challenge to like learn more about the game, learn to appreciate the characters you had. Yeah, floor 12 is hard. Floor 12 is hard. I have 36 star floor 12, but like it's not worth it to 36 floor 12. I think I got like 35 this time. Pretty sure I didn't actually check my stars after we were done. I have 34. 34 is fine. 34 is fine. There's nothing wrong with a 34 star run. We're talking 50 Primogems and like 20,000 Mora. That's all that's there to be collected, right? And so 25,000 Mora and 50 Primogems. 50 cents. I find 50 cents on average every week, just keeping my eye out for pennies and quarters on the ground. So it's 50 cents. It's not a big deal, especially for people who are willing to spend a little bit. But the rest of the Abyss is the issue. Is like you want to definitely refresh 9 and 10. It helps with the battle pass. It gives you lots of rewards. 11 is workable. I hopefully 11 feels more 9-starable now that you've seen kind of what Morgana can do. That's really been the issue. For people who don't have Morgana as an option, this woman right here can also protect the ley line very well. So a well-built Ning Wong, you drop her E skill on one side, deal with the enemies on the other, right? You can either knock them back or block projectiles, block the bottle throwers and the bow kais and stuff like that. So I haven't done that in a while because I haven't needed to, but Ning Wong can also be pretty effective at ley line defense. As far as how to build Ning Wong, I have a hyper invested Ning Wong. Lots of recharge. It's very recharge focused, so burst charge. Skyward Atlas is her best in slot for sure. I run hybrid Gladiator Petra for optimal damage, and she's only really viable at C1, and she's really good at C6. That's about all I have to say about Ning Wong.